Strike Finance is shaking up the entire Cardano DeFi space, quickly becoming one of the most favorite and one of the fastest revenue generating platforms and transaction generating platforms. And as a part of today's video, I'm going to be recapping exactly what is making them stand out and what I see for them in the near future. Without any further ado, let's jump on in. Oh, what's up, Ida Gang? Welcome into Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here, Fareed. Today, we're looking at Strike Finance, which has gained a lot of attention here within the Cardano ecosystem. And it's now being touted as the potential app that will be bringing in users, liquidity, and just adoption of the Cardano ecosystem. Again, really sort of highlighting what is capable within the DeFi ecosystem. So as a part of today's update, we're going to be taking a look at the platform, what it's actually doing, what we can expect in the near future. I'll be sitting down with Sean, their founder, in a couple of weeks as they open up liquidity, providing for general users. So anybody within the ecosystem can now earn by providing liquidity directly to that platform. You can also earn by actually staking. We'll take a look at their tokenomics, and I'll also give you guys my own 2 cents as to what I think about the Strike Finance platform. Now, before we go any further, if it's your first time stopping by, my goal is to help you find your footing here within the Cardano ecosystem. If you appreciate content like this, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up on the way in. If you want more, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. Now, if you want to go ahead and extend your support, right, consider delegating your ADA with either of the 2 Dapp Central stake pools, which share the ticker DAPP. As always, your support is greatly appreciated. Now, you guys know here that this channel is not necessarily a price only channel, but I have to start off here with the actual Strike Finance chart. And that is why there's so many eyeballs on this particular token now. As it stands, roughly 1,200 holders. We've got a market cap of $22 million with a fully diluted valuation of $30 million. So we've got the majority of the tokens currently in circulation, and looking at when it actually launched on the mainnet until where it's at now in dollars, it has done a 7x, or has gone up, I should say, 750%. Now, if we take a look at that against ADA, let's see here very briefly, and then we're going to jump into some of the more nuanced and informational portions of this video. It is up against ADA roughly, again, 700%. Now, what exactly is Strike Finance? It is a derivatives protocol on Cardano. I had Sean, their founder, on here back around September when they actually were just getting ready to have their public token sale. And at that time, he talked about 3 key offerings coming to this platform. First was perpetuals, which they've now delivered on. Second is futures. And third was options. I think they started off with options at first. I don't think that really caught a lot of traction, but with their perpetuals, which allow for you to long and short the market, with Cardano right now, with, I assume, a growing list of assets coming soon, that has gained a lot more adoption. And so jumping into the actual visuals of the platform here, super simple. We've got the ADA chart against USD. We've got the market value at the top. The total long interest, and this makes perfect sense, right? Everybody in the Cardano ecosystem is bullish, currently sitting at roughly $500,000 with a measly $8,000 in shorts. Now, we're going to be talking about funding rates and other different features here in just a moment, but it's relatively simple. You can connect your wallet. From here, you can choose to long or short the market, and then you can provide some ADA, and then you can use this slider here to basically adjust how much leverage you want to go ahead and use. Now, keep in mind that there are risks here when it comes to perpetuals, and that's the risk of liquidations. So make sure that you fully understand the risk associated with this before actually participating on a platform like this. Now, as it stands, it states here, that the max position size is currently at $1,000. But I'm actually seeing bigger positions. And right now there is barely any liquidity left, meaning that it is almost impossible to open up a decently sized position. But when you do, you're presented with the entry price. There is a 1% fee depending on the total value of your position. So for example, if you're taking a $1,000 valued position, you're going to be paying 10 ADA for a fee. And that goes back to their Strike stakers. And that, I think, has been why this particular protocol has been doing so successful. Basically, all of their earnings go back to Strike token holders. So as the protocol wins, so do the users. In addition, we've got the estimated liquidation price, followed by the position value and the position size. Let me get myself out of the way there. I do apologize for that. When you do have a position open, you can quickly view all of the different values with that position. So you can see how big the position is, your entry, and whether you're up or down. And then as you close positions out, you can actually view them here on the left-hand side there in the history column. Now, very standard information here, similar to TradingView. If you are a charter, we can basically go ahead and chart along as the token moves up and down, again, depending on whether you are short or long on the market. Jumping into staking here, it states that by staking the Strike token, you'll be able to earn revenue generated by the platform, and a whopping 100% of the revenue will be distributed to stakers. And rewards are given out every 3 epochs or every 15 days. And you must be staked at the beginning of that epoch, or at least at the snapshot of that epoch, in order to receive the reward. So keep that in mind, and you can unstake or withdraw your rewards at any given time. As it currently stands, we've got over 68% of the circulating supply currently staked. That's roughly about 12 million of their tokens. We've got a burn where we've seen roughly 1,000 tokens burnt, and we've seen over 11,000, nearly 12,000 ADA currently going out to Strike stakers, with the next distribution taking place on the 12th of June. Again, this is why I think this particular protocol has been so successful, and partly due to their tokenomics model. So let's jump into that here very briefly. So we've had 60%, which went out back again around the August/September timeline. We have 15%, which has gone out to team and advisors. And then we've got 12% going out to liquidity, and then 13% towards their DAO. So once this happened, right, there's no additional emissions, meaning that there's not going to be sort of tokens unlocking, which then therefore devalues the current amount of tokens in circulation, which I think, again, is why we've seen this being so successful. Now, I'm going to talk about holders here in just a minute, but briefly highlighting sort of their recent success. We've seen that the protocol has now surpassed over 150,000 ADA in revenue, including 30,000 ADA on this particular day. This was the 5th of June alone. And there's now an additional 100,000 ADA that they added for liquidity, which is obviously now gone. And they've also completed a whopping 17,000 transactions. And we now have almost 70% of their circulating supply currently staked. Now, if you want to provide liquidity, Splash, the DEX, is currently providing a 56% APR for the Strike/ADA pair. And in addition to that, MinSwap is providing 47% APR for the Strike/ADA liquidity pair as well. In closing, their TVL currently stands at 700,000 ADA. And their total interest, as we saw earlier, is at roughly 500,000 ADA on longs and roughly 8,000 on shorts. And I think that's really it here for some of their highlights. Now, one key piece here, which was just released yesterday, again, congrats to the team. Looking outside of Cardano, with the amount of revenue they've generated, they've now crossed the top 50, or basically near the top 50, when you're talking about all protocols and how much they're generating per day. This is massive, and this is why I think that this has the potential to be that killer app that brings people into Cardano and that really begins to transform how different protocols think about how to generate revenue and how to distribute that back over to their holders, and a tokenomics model that actually works for everybody, the users, the protocol builders, as well as the actual token holders and their stakers. So massive, massive shout out to their team here for being able to accomplish something like this literally about a month and a half after launch. Now, that said, I want to jump into this particular platform here where we can see some of the current positions. So again, not many people going short, but I think what we need here is a hourly or a daily funding rate, which will essentially force people, and let me put the screen up there, to be motivated to go on the opposite direction. So right now, there's no concept of funding rates on the platform. I believe that just sort of scrolling through some of the comments, I have seen that Sean wants to implement something like that. And that's, again, to make sure that we can level out the balance between the longs and the shorts, where right now, basically everybody's long. And if there's a liquidation event, right, or if they all become in profit, it's going to be very difficult for them to cash out if there's no liquidity on the other side, AKA liquidity being taken from the shorts to pay the longs. Again, that's unfortunately how the game goes. Now, here we can see some of the biggest positions. And so again, even though the website mentioned $1,000, we can see some positions here which are big as 50K, 8,000, 8,000. I mean, there's some pretty big positions here I love this particular layout here. And just jumping into the token holders, we can see that staking, their DAO, vesting, and liquidity are the biggest wallets so far. And then we've got the liquidity pools from Splash and MintSwap, followed by some of their biggest holders here. So, I mean, again, this is nicely distributed, and I don't necessarily see these holders selling, especially if the price continues to appreciate, the team continues to release new features, and they're getting paid ADA, right, by just holding the actual Strike token. And that's not even counting if they have open positions on their own. So as we get ready to close things out here, what is next? Well, if I'm not mistaken, Sean and team are going to be working to open up liquidity provisioning for anybody to provide their liquidity. They're also going to be working on adding a funding mechanism, again, to level out the longs and the shorts. And if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be taking things to the next level again, releasing features such as options and futures. And so that'll do it here for today's video. If you guys have not already checked out Strike Finance, make sure to do so. Again, not financial advice here. Check it out on your own, understand the risks. But I did want to take the opportunity to briefly highlight exactly what they've been doing here, disrupting DeFi within the Cardano ecosystem. As always, if you've enjoyed today's content, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up on the way out. If you want more, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to voice off down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.